Coach, I'm going to piggyback from what you first said. 3 years ago, you're going through your first spring. You and your coaching staff have to build a culture outside the locker room. Now you got guys who are going into their third year with you. How important is it they're building that culture in the locker room?
Yeah, I think you're constantly building the culture. You know, I tell our staff all the time, you come in every morning, you're gonna do everything you can to protect the culture of what you're trying to build. I think 2 springs ago, it was like, you've heard me say it, but it was gloves off every day. Like, you'd get done, you'd get home, and Lex would be like, man, how was the day? I'm like, literally, I felt like a 12-round bout every day. It was a dogfight. I think now you're at a point where you're constantly guarding the culture, but like I said, the standard at which you do everything is what takes forever to establish. And so I've said so many times, you're either going to build a team or you're going to build a program, and we chose to build a program in the sense that for 2 years, and it got better from year 1 to year 2 certainly, but for 2 years the coaches are the ones holding the standard in every aspect. Certain position groups are better than others, and you recruit, and guys walk in and they're essentially going to adhere to what's going on, right? And you're trying to recruit guys that are leaders. You're trying to recruit guys that can control the locker room in the locker room. I feel like for the first time since we've been here, the standard is upheld in the locker room amongst the guys. You're seeing that through way less accountability issues off the field. You're seeing that through the coaching on the sideline. Like I said, there's 10 guys that have started a bunch of games that are standing on the side at the end, and they're coaching as harder than the coaches. Like you're trying to grab a young guy to coach him, and somebody else is already coaching him. They're holding the standard within the locker room. Does that equate to wins? Man, in my history, it has. I think it's your best chance. But I think when the standard is held within the locker room by the players, it's going to be harder for those guys to let each other down. And, you know, I just said it to them at the end of practice, like, true love is the ability to actually be able to tell somebody the truth and take it. True love, player to player, is the ability for you guys to tell each other the truth and be able to take it. And you're seeing more and more of that. And I think that part is contagious. It's encouraging in a lot of ways.
Coach, obviously, get through the spring with no major injuries. What's the 1 or 2 things at the end of spring you want to be able to say, yeah, we accomplished that?
Yeah, I think number one, and I've said it to the guys every single day, is you want to build and set an identity on both sides of the ball. I think as you look at our first 2 years, it's been so up and down. When we're good, we're good. When we're bad, we're bad. And it's like there's virtually no in between. And you could pinpoint there's games where you can say, man, like we're somewhere there in between. And whether you come out on the right side of it or the wrong side, that's why I always say we're so process driven. Like you want to go back to the process regardless of the end result. I think for us, where you continuously are trying to build, you want to have an identity on both sides of the ball. I feel like we left the season, and did we get better on defense? We did. Did we get better on offense? We did. Certain stats we got better, certain stats we stayed the same. We didn't get worse. I want us to have an identity on both sides of the ball, and then in turn have an identity as a team. We have, I feel like at times, felt like we had an identity, and then you look at it and you're like, man, like we're kind of all over the place. Now you could blame, there was a quarterback change halfway through, injuries to our middle linebacker. Like there's a lot of things you could blame it on. My job is to build a program where no matter who's in there, the identity of the program is the same. And that's the end all. If there was a goal at the end of this whole thing, is have an identity on both sides of the ball. And the second part of it is figure out which of these young guys, which of these transfers could come in and add a ton of value. We got a ton of seniors. We got almost 30 seniors. So a bunch of guys that have been there, done that. You're going to talk to 2 of them. You're going to talk to Bowman and you're going to talk to Celestar. Like guys that have transferred in, have been through the ups, downs, career-wise, and all they want to do is win. At the end of the day, that's all they want to do. And so for us, if we can have an identity on both sides of the ball, have an identity as a program, these leaders go into the summer continue to push the standard, I think you would feel like, man, the spring was successful.